Here's what I learned traveling 1,000 miles across Texas last week. It's May 20th, 2024, and these are your headlines. There's been an unwritten rule in the Texas House for a long time, and it goes like this. Incumbent members should never, ever campaign against other incumbents. It's been called the Incumbent Protection Program. This tradition was so pervasive that a few years ago, the Texas House Republican Caucus actually enshrined the prohibition in their rules. They've threatened to censure members who dare violate it. And so when I say it's remarkable that a group of incumbent and incoming legislators hit the road for 3 days to travel 1,000 miles around the state, exposing their colleagues for cozying up to liberal leadership and killing conservative priorities, I mean it. This hasn't been done before. This was the Silver Bullet Tour, hosted by Gun Owners of America. It started last Wednesday in Burleson with a campaign rally for Helen Kerwin. It wound through the Metroplex, making stops for David Lowe, Andy Hopper, and Katrina Pearson. It wasn't all smooth sailing, though, I will say. The group encountered a torrential storm as they traveled to Beaumont. Now, I'm not even joking. Portions of the bus were flooding, leading some to joke that the bus tour maybe turned into a boat tour. But despite the weather and the long distances, the coalition trekked on, taking major shots as they told voters the record of the incumbents. Now, specifically, incumbents ignoring the grassroots was a common theme among all who joined the tour. And that's a message that resonated with Republican voters in March when they took out a dozen incumbents. And challengers are hoping that that sentiment has only grown stronger if voters will turn out for the runoffs. Wes Verdell, by the way, wore two hats during the tour. Literally, he wore a GOA hat, as he currently serves as the group's state director, as well as a metaphorical hat as an incoming lawmaker himself. Now, he drove the point home at every stop about voter turnout and how important that is, reminding voters that government is controlled by the people who show up, which is a very important statement. And the most watched race on election night will undoubtedly be the matchup of David Covey against current Speaker Dade Phelan in Southeast Texas. Phelan came in second place during the March election, which is a bad position for any incumbent, let alone the Speaker of the House. Removing a sitting speaker in his district would expedite the already rapidly shifting tides in Austin. Now, early voting begins today if you're in an area that has runoff elections for the primary. It continues through Friday, May 25th. Election day is next Tuesday, May 28th. Texas has secured a temporary halt of new restrictions on private gun sales imposed by the Biden administration's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Attorney General Ken Paxton had filed a lawsuit earlier this month challenging new ATF regulations that redefine who is engaged in the business as a firearms dealer. The 126-page final rule would have the effect of criminalizing law-abiding Americans for private gun purchases and sales. That rule was set to take effect today. However, yesterday, Attorney General Paxton announced that a federal court issued a 2-week temporary restraining order delaying enforcement of the rule until June 2nd while the state seeks longer-term relief. The court found that the new regulations likely violate the Administrative Procedure Act because they conflict with the underlying legislation, which is the 2022 Bipartisan Safer Community Acts, quote, in at least 3 ways. Paxton's lawsuit was filed on behalf of a multi-state coalition that included Louisiana, Mississippi, and Utah, along with individual Jeffrey Tormey and the organizations Gun Owners of America, Gun Owners Foundation, Tennessee Firearms Association, and the Virginia Citizens Defense League. The court held that the 3 other states did not establish standing at this stage of litigation, but Texas and the other plaintiffs demonstrated a substantial likelihood of prevailing on the merits and a substantial threat of irreparable injury.
Are Texas lawmakers listening to voters when they go to Austin, or have they been co-opted? I'm Valerie Munoz. Join me as I introduce you to a powerful group with a grip on Texas politicians. Listen now to Season 7 of Exposed, The Beast of Austin, available wherever you get podcasts.
After Carroll ISD trustees passed a resolution denouncing Biden's rewrite of Title IX, the district is now moving forward with legal action. Following the board meeting last week, the board unanimously approved a motion for its legal counsel, Alliance Defending Freedom, to proceed with litigation against all necessary parties related to proposed changes to Title IX and their effect on Carroll ISD. Earlier this month, Texas Scorecard reported that Carroll ISD trustees unanimously passed a resolution denouncing the Title IX rewrite, expressing their deep concern for the negative impact it could have on Carroll ISD students and the community. That new version of Title IX would add gender identity as a protected class. It would also force schools to allow biological males to use female spaces. If schools refuse to comply, federal funding would be withheld. Texas has sued, and Governor Greg Abbott has also sent a letter to President Biden condemning the revision and instructed the Texas Education Agency, as well as the state's universities, to ignore his new rule. Unless the legal challenges are successful, the new rule will take effect on August 1st. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.